Hi, everybody. This is Ernesto, licensed marriage and family therapist, and I'm here with my friends. Hey, go ahead and introduce yourself, you guys.
Hi, I'm Katie Vernoy.
And I'm Curt Widhalm.
And we are representing CAMP right now, the state CAMP. So I'm going to be interviewing both of my friends, Katie and Curt, because they have a really fun workshop. And before I forget, they're on look at the beautiful mug in the CAMP website. Look at that. Oh man, it's backward. Hopefully it's not going to be backwards.
It looks forward to me. I think it's okay.
Oh, it is okay. Okay, you can see it. So I want you guys to really listen in on some of the fun things we're going to be talking about. You know, in the marketing world as a clinician, we have to know the legal and ethics, and you guys are experts in this field. So first of all, what I'm going to have them do is introduce themselves to you and the things that they do for State Camp. Go ahead.
Okay, I guess I get to go first. So I said I'm Katie Vernoy. I am the president-elect of CAMP, and I'm very excited to be speaking at the annual conference, The Brand Called You, the Laws and Ethics in Creating a Personal Brand.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's us. And that's Curt without a beard.
Yes.
So Curt looks very different now. He's so different. It's like really weird. He's so different. But we're going to be talking about how to make sure that you recognize the need for a personal brand and still do it legally, ethically, and in a clinically appropriate way.
Absolutely. Curt?
I'm Curt Widhalm. I'm the Chief Financial Officer on the CAMP's Board of Directors, and I have a private practice in the Los Angeles area. And Katie and I also put together a podcast that comes out each week. It's called the Modern Therapist Survival Guide. And you can hear all sorts of shenanigans that we get up to, but again,
lots of shenanigans.
Very strong efforts on making sure that things are clinically sound and legally and ethically done.
Yeah, and my name's Ernesto. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I'm a close friend of not only these two, but also the CAMP state, because they're just awesome people. And I'm also a member of CAMP, right?
Yes,
I think I am. I hope I paid the dues, but yeah, I'm a big supporter. So here we go, you guys. I'm going to be asking them a few questions, and this is a really important topic just because some of the things that we are doing now as a mental health professional is we are marketing ourselves on the digital sphere. We are marketing ourselves in so many ways, but as mental health professionals, especially in California, part of CAMP, we have to understand the legal and ethics of it. So I'm going to fire few questions to you guys. Okay, are you guys ready?
Yes.
Totally ready.
Okay, Curt, are you ready? Because, you know, that orange shirt is...
It's part of my brand is, you know, I go with the whole color schematics.
And I keep trying to tell him that a color is not a brand.
Right, I know, but look at my backdrop. This is my office, and there's oranges right there. I positioned that just so, out of respect for Curt.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, here we go, you guys. So one of the questions that I get posed a lot as far as brands, what is a personal brand and why, and I'm reading off of my script right here, should therapists consider creating one?
Well, I think a personal brand is basically making your professional and your personal self, not your private self, but your professional and your personal self into more of a public, authentic representation. Oftentimes that can be in social media, it can be on your website, it can be in videos, it can be in how you interact when you're networking. But the idea is with the personal brand is that it gives you a sense of how, it gives the audience kind of the sense of what it would be like to work with you. And so the reason why it's so important that therapists have a personal brand is because, first off, we need to decrease mental health stigma. So if therapists are human beings and are approachable, then more people are going to be coming into therapy. But I think it also means that the people who call you are going to be more aligned. They're going to already start having that relationship with you because they've read a blog post, they've seen a video, they've interacted with your content online. And so informed consumers are stronger consumers, and I think being able to know what your therapist is like, there's a lot that it could go into, but I think that's the reason why it's important for therapists to have a personal brand, because we are already on the interwebs. People are already going to be able to find us. So for curating that and positioning that and making sure that people, when they find us in a professional / personal way, I think that helps, and it helps our clients.
Yeah, absolutely. And I noticed in the very beginning, we are actually creating this personal brand right now, and we're fun, and we go back and forth and banter on Curt's orange shirt. But when you see him, that orange, unfortunately, that orange color is going to stick to you. But you also see the personality and the person behind that, right, Curt?
And when we really look at what we do as a profession, which is bring us into the room and to help people through some of the more difficult aspects of their lives, that we can't ignore that therapists are a part of the therapeutic process.
Mm-hmm.
And by us living more authentically, by our brand being closer to who we are in general, the better off that we're going to be able to help people when they're in our office. That being a therapist, since it is such personal work, it's not something that we necessarily turn on and off. It's just a matter of turning the dial up and down and being able to embrace it in those right moments.
Wow, Curt, seriously, that's like a mic drop. We're done with the interview. That's it. But you really mentioned, Curt, that you mentioned something really important, that that brand also translates into your therapeutic work and your relationship with your clients from the outside, or potential clients from the outside. So when you bring them in, it's almost as if they've already created this connection, this bridge between you on the outside from a professional world into your session, right?
Absolutely. And if you think of any person that you grew up watching on TV, a newscaster or somebody else, that you have at least this imagined relationship with them, or what they might be like in person.
Right.
And really, when we start putting things out as far as content, whether it's resources about mental health professional things, or resources about how to manage your anxiety, or any of that kind of stuff, is that there's an imagined relationship that's already developing with you.
True.
And when that is really close to that authentic way of working with you, people develop that relationship. People come in primed to be ready to work with you.
Mm-hmm. Katie, I want to ask you this question as well too. How does a personal brand, and this goes into a segue into what you were saying, Curt, but how does a personal brand actually enhances or even make that connection with the outcome of any clinical work that you do? So I want to preface it this way, I know, Katie, that you understand this, both of you understand this, that energy is such a really important aspect of our clinical work, right? And your personal brand gives that familiarity to these potential clients. What do you say?
Well, there's actually been a study, and I think Curt probably knows the people, the names, because he always is the one that finds those wonderful studies. But the expectation that a client has about treatment, about the relationship, actually positively impacts the treatment outcomes. And so when we're careful about that, and the relationship that they have with you ahead of time is not a broken website, or kind of a weird photo, or those kinds of things. Incongruent. Or something that's incongruent, right? So if they have to kind of shift how they think about you in the room, that actually is harder, because you're going against their expectations at the beginning. And so I think being able to really curate and focus what is out there about you and create the personal brand it kind of lines up with these pre-treatment expectations of success, and it actually your clinical outcomes are better if that's happening. That you're actually, it's the same thing, and you don't have to shift as a client. You don't have to shift into all of a sudden you have to find figure out, who is this person? I thought they were somebody else, or they look way different because their picture still doesn't have a beard in it. That kind of stuff.
So what I'm hearing you say is that if somebody looks at my beautiful, amazing, handsome selfie, right, on my Instagram, and then they come into session, they go, what is this? Who is this person in front of me? Why do you look like that? You have beautiful filters on your Instagram and on your website, and I look at you and you don't have that. So you're saying that would be a hard shift and connecting factor.
And where the research is, it really starts with Bruce Wampold's working alliance inventory and about meeting the mutual goals and creating a mutual path between clients and therapists of what is going to make therapy successful. There's now more recent research that says that it's the client's expectation of the therapist's expertise before the first session actually strengthens that working alliance.
Wow.
So some of that information that you put out on your websites or in whatever other media, social media, Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is, the more that you're able to demonstrate your expertise actually has an impact on clients before they potentially even call you.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if we think about referrals that are, you have a really strong referral, they're going to give you the benefit of the doubt. They're going to roll with you more. They're going to expect you to be a stronger clinician. So you got to live up to it. But, but you have that piece of being able to increase the efficacy of your clinical work.
Yeah. So there's that psychological piece, there's that emotional piece in branding and how important it is for mental health professionals to go in there. I'm going to go off script just a little bit. What would you say to clinicians who are afraid to get to that place where they're too much on the professional side and have such a difficult time integrating their authentic self into that? What would you say to them?
I think a personal brand is uniquely yours. So there are folks who have really irreverent, personal, sometimes even private kind of personal brands. And if that doesn't line up for you, then that's not your personal brand. I think it's important to recognize that creating your personal brand is about really humanizing you and being a human, not necessarily like, I am a robot and now I will pretend to be a human, but like actually bringing a little bit more of yourself into the room. And I liken it to when I was working in public mental health, I was in kind of a milieu setting. So I was constantly with my clients. And that is intense boundaries, right? Like you have to figure out, how am I professional when I have to scratch my nose? When I have to, kind of keep going in and living with my clients, right? And so being able to identify, how would you maintain the boundaries when you're if you were with your clients 24/7, and I wouldn't recommend that, but if you were, that level of personal is what you would bring into your personal brand. It doesn't have to be like, hey everyone, here's my food, or hey everyone, this is where I'm traveling to. Like you don't have to do the Ernesto Segismundo personal brand, like prayers for the gorgeous food.
Selfies,
Right. Like you don't necessarily have to do that. You have to do what's you. And so I think, and it can be more on the professional side, especially if you wear a suit to work and you do really go from the expert professional space, but it just has to be less
comfortable.
Well, it needs to be comfortable, but if you're not a comfortable person, it doesn't even have to be comfortable. It has to be authentic to how they're going to experience you in the room. And if it's just, these are my credentials and this is my specialties, it doesn't give anybody a sense of you at all. And so that's the distinction. It doesn't have to be like this woo-woo, like my brand, where I'm always excited and woo-hooing. It can be a very professional brand. It just doesn't necessarily mean just, here are my credentials, here's what like it needs to be you, whatever that is.
That's awesome. I love the way that you guys pose that, because it merges, it makes it feel safe, right? And makes it interesting in our field when you have an element of that. And there's freedom in being a professional and also that human brand that people absolutely love. And I know for a fact, and I don't have to pull out any studies out there, but lo and behold, I'm pretty sure people want to work with other human beings.
Right. And I think intuitively, we all know this, especially when we're making referrals to other people, that when we are looking at somebody that, I need somebody who's going to be really good with men's issues, or I need somebody who's going to be really good with children, that even within all of the referrals that we provide, there's going to be somebody who, I know that person's going to match up with this person better. And
because of their personality and energy,
Exactly. And I think that we are taught a lot as therapists to shy away from having a personality, to shy away from having opinions about things. that it actually does a disservice when those matches can be better off to get better client outcomes.
Yeah, the blank slate's dead.
That's true. That's so true. And you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, self-disclosure. And there's times when I call Curt when I'm freaking out about legal and ethics stuff, and if I need some humor and some, maybe some flexible ways to think about ethics and legal, I go to Curt. But if I need, hold on real quick. I'll let you time to explain. But if there is another aspect where, Curt says this, I call Ben, Dr. Cadwell, and go, I have this. So it's one of those, what answer can I get? That middle child.
Are you shopping?
But they're saying the same thing, but in just different energies, right? They're not saying, it's not different. They're saying exactly the same thing, but I'm looking for different energy. And for me, it's like, let me go to another individual for this. And then lo and behold, they say the same thing, but with different approaches to my brain, right? So that's what I appreciate. They're not, you guys are, I hate to say this to you, Curt, but you guys are talking about the same thing at the same level, at least from my perspective.
No, and I hang around a lot with Ben, and when I speak the way that Ben speaks, I sound very condescending. Ben sounds extremely supportive. So this is really where I don't need to be Ben, and nobody wants me to be Ben because it doesn't sound very nice. So I'm really happy to take a little bit more of the irreverent, fun end of things.
And the dad jokes.
And have it be the exact same message, because it's me, and it's not me trying to be somebody that I'm not.
Good. Ben, we love you. Just to
and
make
Ben's
sure.
speaking at the conference too, right?
He
Dr. Ben Caldwell?
Yes, he
Moral
will.
dilemmas or something?
Yes.
It's going to be amazing.
It's going to be awesome. But, I love that conversation where, for me, I go about not only the expertise of the individual, the professional, like with you and Katie, but also with the idea of my comfortability with them, the approachability. The both of you guys, this is kudos to all of you. You guys are up here as far as knowledge that I need to know, but you guys are so approachable. And I think that's the power of personal brand, right, Katie?
Yeah. I think that there are folks who are coming who want an expert. And if you want to be the expert, perfect. But there's also folks who are scared, they've never been in therapy before, or they've been in therapy a million times and feel like they haven't ever connected with their therapist. And so if that's something that you can provide, it's so important to let people know that. If you look exactly the same as every other therapist on your website, on the way that you interact, you're not going to be connecting with the people that you're meant to serve. And so I think being able to do that in a way that follows all the laws and ethics of marketing, that does all of those pieces and can actually start this relationship before it begins, in person. I think you've created something that is next level. I mean, we didn't have access to this before social media as much. Certainly we could network, but people were sitting behind closed doors with a little shingle out, and it's just changed. And so being able to make therapy approachable and not just for the 1% and all of that, I think it's about being approachable and making sure that you're speaking directly to your clients in a language that is approachable, connected, relatable to them.
Yeah. So I want to give a plug real quick. So before we move on, for all of you guys who are listening, I want you guys to go to the website and register for this event. This is going to be this is the annual CAMP conference in April in San Francisco, which I love. I love this place. There's a really good places to eat around that area. Anyway, we'll reserve that.
Ernesto to know where all the food joints are.
Right, exactly. So specifically, Katie and Curt will be doing their workshop on the 27th. But in the magazine and the brochure, make sure you register for the event because I think it's really, really important. Now, we're going to go into the legal and ethics, but before we move into that, I want to make sure that we don't give too much, because you will go into detail in your workshop with this, right? So right now, what are some of the legal or the law and ethics consideration that many in our field, mental health field, need to be aware of at the least, you'd say?
So I think that there comes a lot of people who want to portray their knowledge, and they talk in marketing terms as far as a specialty, which is a desire to work with a certain population.
Right.
But there is a whole quagmire of things that come around the word specialist that hold you to a higher accountability than other therapists. So really being able to look at where you really are in your knowledge and the services that you can provide,
right,
compared to the community around you, is even some of the ways that you need to look at how you want to brand yourself versus what your brand actually is of yourself. And so kind of working on a projected identification sort of meta level here, but really being able to go into your advertising with intention.
Right.
And I actually have one too, because when you were talking, I was like, oh, he's going to talk about this one. But I think oftentimes when we are focused, and maybe we have the qualifications to be a specialist or an expert or whatever, but regardless of where you're at with your training, in your marketing, in the way that you promote yourself, you may be working with a very specific population. My specific population is women, frequently women survivors of trauma who are in career transition. So if I were then to turn away everyone else, I might be discriminating. And so, it's important to recognize that in setting up a good personal brand and making sure that your marketing is legal, ethical, all that stuff, you also on the receiving end need to make sure that you're not discriminating against classes of people because they don't fit your ideal client mode. I think that's something that we'll be able to dig into a little bit, because it's very complex.
Thin line. Yeah, that's a very thin line, because I had not thought about that, because I see a lot of individuals being specific on their marketing on classes of people and cultural, even the way that I would say I do therapy for Pacific Islanders. In general, I don't want to come across alienating other groups.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Now I need to really attend your class.
Yeah, you're going to be there, right? I
will have my cell phone recording you guys and taking selfies as you are talking. But that is I've never really thought about that. And in this day and age, a lot of folks, mental health professionals, are putting themselves at risk of discrimination. Mm-hmm. Wow. Now I'm kind of thinking I better look at my website. Because, my group, and for those of you who don't know, I also have a group practice. And my group practice, I am proud of the fact that it's multicultural. And I try to represent as many cultures as possible. But at the same time, some of the marketing I may have to explore, right? I mean, not to that extent, but to this idea that we don't want to just say we provide services for people of color, Pacific Islanders, Asian Pacific Islanders, because it's just, there's so much to consider. But as long as
didn't mean to freak you out, Ernesto.
No, but this is in line with my post on Facebook this morning. So, but I love this conversation. I never really thought about it. So again, I want to do another plug. Now that my mind is blown, I'm actually forcing all of you to go attend, and it's on the 27th. And here's a plug. It's my birthday. So to make me happy on my birthday, go attend session. All right, I'm going to move into another thing here. This idea of self-disclosure. So I didn't want to give off too much of what you're going to be talking about on that day, because I really have a question. Mm-hmm. Self-disclosure. Go at it. Therapists going self-disclosure. What
you should give the
consider?
Right amount.
Yeah, and the right amount is probably different for each person. But one thing that Curt and I've talked about a lot is there's the public, which is very professional, right? there's the personal, which is more about you, and then there's the private, which is the stuff that you only share with close friends. And so the, you know, kind of the turning the dial up and down on the public, you can just keep public, but the turning the dial up and down on personal, to not give too much away. Part of it is about what's appropriate for the clients, but part of it's also about your own safety and making sure that you're not feeling too exposed or vulnerable to do high quality work with your clients.
And as always, it should be for the benefit of the client, that we're not, you know, telling anybody that, you know, go and just talk about you to your clients, but that it really is about, you know, still looking at it from that clinical piece of why you're talking about things or why you're bringing things into your sessions for the benefit of the client's treatment. But, really embracing that you do bring some personal factors into the office, whether it's your age, your gender. I mean, I work with a lot of adolescents, so I get a lot of phone calls that are, hey, I'm looking for a guy therapist who works with teens. And, you know, those are personal aspects about me that have really been something that I've been able to lean into as far as what my brand is, because, you know, I can talk sports, I can talk memes, I can talk, you know, all sorts of teenage guy stuff.
Because that's kind of developmentally where he is.
Lean into your brand and
emojis. That's how we communicate.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of emojis.
So it's really, you know, doing it with intention.
Yeah. And, you know, there is that safety factor as well, too. So if you're working with, I don't know, people who have antisocial tendencies, you don't want to do a video in front of your house with your address right behind you. So things like that, right? You know, and you want to make sure as well, too, that whatever you put on social media, that you keep in mind not only the perception, but also how this is going to help uplift and keep the integrity of the profession, right?
Yes.
Awesome. This was exciting. This was pretty fun. My mind is blown with a few of the conversations, and I want to encourage all of you to attend the conference. There's so many incredible speakers at this conference, right?
Yeah, I think you're one of them too, right?
Yes, I'm one of them. Thank you so much. I mean, when you walk around this conference, there's the energy, there's going to just be a lot of networking, a lot of people to be there. So please come and enjoy the time with us. Any last words, you guys?
We are really about, you know, doing good quality work and also opening the door that you can have fun as a therapist, and that you don't have to completely shut yourself out of being a person, that being genuine and authentic is not only just for clients, but it's for you as therapists too.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest piece is as modern therapists, there are a lot of new things that we're facing that isn't necessarily in the textbooks yet. And so finding opportunities to learn about social media or learning about personal branding or those kinds of things, being able to really know how to do it clinically, ethically, legally, I think is critical, because trying to go and do it on your own without guidance, really hard, because there's so many different things that we face.
Yeah. So, and I know that, yes, we are talking about a lot of really tough subjects here, you know, to consider when you are out there in the digital sphere and also developing your personal brand. But your workshop, I've been to it, and I specifically this topic, and I love the fact that you guys can say you can be human and be professional at the same time. Here's some things that you can consider, and it shouldn't be that anxiety provoking, but it is. Unfortunately, it is for many folks.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, this is Ernesto, and we are here at CAMF. Please come to the CAMF conference. It's going to be a lot of fun. And again, this is my friends, Katie and Curt.
Woohoo!
Aloha.